Chatbot, AI agent. These two terms get thrown around constantly, and at this point, it's completely reasonable if they're starting to blur together. Which one should I be using? And what's the difference? But more importantly, which one actually helps when a customer is close to buying but isn't quite there yet? Today, we're breaking down the real difference between chatbots and AI agents, not in theory, but in how they actually show up in day-to-day work, where each one shines, and how they affect real customer conversations. Let's take a look. Before automation became part of everyday software, pressure on support teams continued to grow. More and more customers came asking questions, expectations around response times kept rising, but there were only so many people a team could add. The chatbot emerged as a practical solution to that problem. Early chatbots were rule-based. You defined keywords, mapped out flows, and tried to predict what customers might ask. When people followed these paths, everything worked. But the moment someone moved slightly off script, the experience broke down. The limitation wasn't about effort, though. Teams spent a lot of time building those systems. The issue was that chatbots didn't understand intent. They followed instructions, not meaning. And that's where frustration crept in, both for customers trying to get answers and for teams trying to support them at scale. When AI entered the picture, that part changed. Instead of matching keywords, systems could start to understand context. They could interpret what someone meant, not just what they typed. Responses became more flexible, more natural, and far less fragile. That shift is what opened the door to what we now call AI agents. What's important here is that chatbots didn't disappear. They evolved alongside this shift. When people talk about chatbots today, they're usually referring to the systems that pull answers from FAQs, help centers, and website content and respond in a way that feels conversational rather than scripted. They're fast and they're really good at handling straightforward questions. And that matters because fast answers reduce frustration and quietly protect revenue that would otherwise be lost when customers leave simply because they didn't get a response in time. Chatbot is built to respond. When a customer asks a question, the chatbot provides a clear answer as quickly as possible. They help businesses provide continuous customer engagement and human-like support without needing to expand their team. Where they really shine is clearing things up, such as order status, shipping timelines, return policies, store hours, or product availability. We are referring to predictable linear conversations, and a well-configured chatbot handles them with ease. There's no waiting, no added pressure on your team, and more customers have their questions answered. Where the limitation shows up is what happens after the information is delivered. That's because not all conversations are straightforward. Sometimes people circle back and they hesitate. That's where the distinction between a chatbot and an AI agent starts to matter. AI agents can handle those same moments just as well because at their core, they also know how to answer questions clearly and quickly. But the difference isn't what happens during and after the response. They can adapt to every chat based on who's asking, what they need, and what happened before. Plus, it taps into your integrations to take the right action at the right time. A customer asks about pricing and gets a clear explanation. Then they hesitate and ask whether upgrading later is complicated or whether they'll lose their data. This is where AI agents can shine. It recognizes the hesitation, gathers relevant information, clarifies what actually happens during an upgrade, and guides the customer towards the next step. Not by pushing or pressuring, but by removing the last bit of uncertainty that's holding them back. That's often where real revenue gets made, because the agent understands the full context of the conversation. It can recommend options that actually fit what the customer has described, capture lead details naturally, or introduce an offer when timing matters. It feels like a natural continuation of the conversation. As volume grows, the difference becomes much more noticeable. People bounce between pages, compare options, leave and come back later. An AI agent can connect those moments over time and keep the conversation moving forward. This doesn't mean that an AI agent is always the right choice. For many straightforward interactions, a strong chatbot is still as efficient and effective. But when your business depends on follow-through or on helping customers reach a decision rather than just find information, the agent model really starts to show its advantage. Picture a normal workday. Orders coming in, customers browsing, and questions popping up while you're trying to keep everything moving forward. When a chatbot is part of that setup, a lot of the questions get handled quietly in the background. Customers ask about order status, shipping, returns, or basic product details, and they get answers immediately, even when your team isn't online. What that usually means in practice is fewer moments where your team has to stop what they're doing and answer something that's already been asked 100 times a day. On the other hand, an AI agent shifts the day in a slightly different direction. The questions still come in, but they don't always end with just an answer. Sometimes a conversation leads to a follow-up, a summary, a task, or a handoff that needs to happen for the customer to actually move forward. Instead of you mapping out every possible path, the agent is set up around outcomes. You connect it to the tools you already use, assign it responsibilities, and it figures out the steps. A conversation ends and something is already in motion. A note is logged, a follow-up is scheduled. Context carries forward without someone needing to remember what happened later. With an AI agent, your team doesn't open their inbox to a pile of half-resolved chats. They step into conversations where the intent is clear and the next step isn't a mystery. And that's what daily life looks like when these tools are working well. Fewer loose ends, fewer resets, and less energy spent pushing things forward by hand. A chatbot helps you keep sales from slipping out of your hands when the customer is still deciding. It's there for the classic make or break questions like order tracking, account management, or product details. It can handle many of these conversations at the same time and around the clock. It can also qualify leads by asking a few targeted questions, and when someone is clearly high intent, it can pass that lead to your sales team in real time so that you're not finding out about them after they've left. An AI agent shows up when a customer needs a gentle nudge to help complete their order. In a case like where a customer is not only asking what type of items you sell, but even what they're actually best suited for. It can personalize replies with customer details like name and purchase history, and with all its integrations, it can then make all the necessary arrangements for its human counterpart to take over when necessary, be it opening a ticket, tagging them in real time, or anything else, so the handoff doesn't lose momentum. So if you're thinking about revenue, the difference isn't who sells better. It's where you tend to lose people. If you're losing them because the conversations need continuity and action, not just another answer, that's where an AI agent tends to earn its keep. Chatbots and AI agents solve different problems. So the real question is, where do your customers usually get stuck? Once you understand that, the next step becomes much clearer. And what these systems can do beyond answering questions is exactly what we'll dig into next. If this video was useful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more practical breakdowns, and I'll see you next time.